Hello, how are you? I'm Chris at 3D Palace. Okay, this is the masterclass, and I'm going to be creating something myself at the moment. This is to create a tram. Now, I want the tram to be high polygon, but I also want to create it so that the end result is I can optimize it, use the high polygon one as a normal map, and use the low polygon one in a game engine. Whether as a mobile or static asset is yet to be decided. Now, the thing is, the level that I'm working on at the moment is all based around a transit hub. And I did have an initial design for the tram, however, it was quite basic. And at the time I was kind of, well, that's okay, it's a game engine. However, game engines aren't like they used to be. You can't really put a low polygon asset into a next generation game engine and just hope to get away with it. Not unless you have some absolutely killer normal maps and textures to go on it anyway, and hide it with some very clever lighting. So, the stage I'm at now is I've already done the concept art, and because the concept art's done, I now want to move on to doing the blocking out. Now, the concepting, obviously, I'm no professional concept artist, but the purpose of concept art is so that we, as 3D artists, understand what it is we're making better and we can see the parts it's made out of. And if you draw it yourself, then at least you're going to have some understanding of it. The reason I say this is for the students, I've made them draw out all their projects they want to do as part of their masterclasses. And I think some of them weren't really expecting the models they were building to have quite so many parts and so many complex pieces. And it's only until you actually look at it that you realise that, you know, there is some complexity to this design. Now, just adjust my microphone there, and right. Now, what I'm going to do, obviously working from my initial sketch, is block out the rough shape of the carriage units, okay? Now, I only really need to design one carriage unit because it's going to work in a train, and we can have 1, we can have 2, we can have 4, we can have 8. That's how this works, okay? It's not too complicated. And I'm not very interested in scale. I'm interested in shapes still at the moment, okay? Now, I designed something similar to this when I did some work for a game company a while ago. But this concept is somewhat unique. I've got some unique ideas for it. So what I'm doing is I'm just starting off with my editable poly here, and just working rough like this really does give me a chance to come up with shapes and ideas that I think are quite nice that are going to work. Now, I'm taking as part of my design a kind of classic London tube train. If you've never seen one of those before, they're the kind of stylized, classic kind of underground trains they have in London. Okay, and I'm using these just to kind of flesh out the distance between parts at the moment. Just so that I can kind of see. Now, I want enough room for maybe 4 or 6 people to sit inside. So, I'll move that to there, like that. Okay, that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a secondary piece here and put it there. And then another piece, and I'm going to bring it over to here. The whole process shouldn't take you very long, to be honest. Okay, like that. Now what I want to do is attach these parts here to here. And I can now bridge these pieces. Press F4, you can see my edges. Okay, that gives me this middle part here. Now this just represents where the front of the train is, in my opinion. And the idea for this train is going to be that this part here can either lift up like this to raise people up to the platform area, or it can raise it out like this on a rail. Oops, hang on. Or we can have the entire front lift down, depending. We can build some different configurations of this. However, the idea is that it's kind of a mobile system. Okay, these parts here are obviously going to hold it together, but we have to kind of work out how. Now what I'm going to do is come underneath this from here to here, and I think I should probably go up here as well, like this. Now obviously this is only relevant if you're copying my project. If you're doing your own project, the information's kind of going to help you in a bit, but you have to look at how this is going to work in context. Okay, and I'm going to chamfer this wide. And then chamfer it a little bit. Reason being, I can now grab this part and bring it up like that. I'll just isolate this part. There we go. Now then I'll just scale these bits in a little. There we are. So now that we've got this part here, on the underside we can have the bottom part that's actually going to hold this in place. Otherwise, you know, there's going to be no semblance of strength, and we won't be able to build a lower rail either to actually support our train. So what I'm going to do now is just grab this and attach it to here. Like I say, at the moment this is still very much a rough kind of design that we have going on here. Okay, so go through here and here. But like I say, the reason for this is because we want to be able to start refining this. And we're not going to be able to do that until, chamfer this wide. We're not going to be able to do that until we have a rough shape to work from. Okay, let's go in there. Now at the moment that's a little bit too high, so what I'll do is I'll just use the quick slice tool. See. Control A, slice plane. There's the plane there. Bring it down to about there. And then I'm just going to click slice like that. Then turn it off. There we go. That's made us some slices where we need them. I can go from there to there. And then just select these parts here, because this is where our magnetic kind of coupling for this thing is going to be. And then if I just open this out a bit here, and then bevel this. I'm just using a 0 length bevel. If you're not used to my methodology, you should probably go and look up how I do 0 length bevels, because they're very, very useful. There we go, spin that round. Because we want a mixture of shapes on this. Just use the select tool. There we are. Now I can just chamfer that again. Okay, and that gives us that shape there. This kind of rounded part here, you see, you'll have plenty of room for pipes and all sorts of weird fans and things like that, which are what people kind of come to expect in these next generation games you hear about on the televisions. Okay, now down here, straight through here and do a connect so that it's broken into two parts. Then I'm going to go down here and do another one. Okay, and that'll give us our door area here. Got to stop pressing that scale button, haven't I? There we are. Small inset Actually, no, rather than doing the small insert, I'm going to detach as a part. I'll do that again. Make sure it's not detached as a clone. No, it isn't. Okay, and then I'll do it again here. Reason being that these doors obviously have to open out. There and here. Like so. Now there'll be windows down the side, so what I'm going to do is just go straight through here and do a connect. And then down here again. Good thing is that I can now move my entire connector like this. And again, just here. Now the mistake I made before was I was doing something along these lines. And this was some time back. And I thought to myself, well, you know, that looks good enough. That's almost certainly a game model. I mean, it's low polygon and stuff. And all I did was do some minor refinements and then kind of left it there. And obviously that was a big mistake. Okay, I'm going to stick a shell on this. Inner amount only. There we go. I like how you can bevel edges and stuff. I think that's nice. Okay, just close that off. So now we have the doors that we can open and shut. We've only done this on one side, but the thing is we're going to replicate it on the other side anyway. Now this part here where the front of the train is supposed to be, what I'm going to do is go through there and do a quick connect. There we go. And now if I take this piece here, and bring it out like that. Now it's important that I lower this line here, and I know this looks messy at the moment, but like I say, we're just working on a rough. But if we lower this down to here, then it's going to keep in line with the rest of the piece, like that. Okay, and we want to curve this a little bit as well, so I'll just slice straight down, then grab some verts. And over here. And we can kind of refine the shape at the minute because it's low polygon. That's the cool thing. We can kind of decide where we're going with this. Now this is probably just going to be some sort of a massive sensor array anyway. So our concern about places for people to sit are unfounded. The whole point of this is that, you know, we're working on a science fiction context. Do you remember Johnny Cabs from, what was it again? Total Recall. That whole kind of idea, I think, appeals to me. There we go. So we have this kind of flat area here. And where these are currently turned out like this. But this is my scale tool. I can flatten these in. Like that. You can still see that there's broken polygons galore there, but that's not really an issue because there won't be by the time I'm finished. Okay, that'll probably do that part. Right, so if I now have a quick look at the model that I've built, to press G to get rid of the bottom grid, you see that we've got this kind of maglev train thing coming on here. Again, like I say, the idea is that we can deliver people using the rail system that will be kind of built in under this. Okay, so if we're going to be building the rail system, I'll isolate this part off, and the rails themselves will work on a raising track kind of base. So I'll just Probably use auto grid for this. Oops, come back here, you. So I'll just draw it out. Somewhat like that. Then bring that over to there. Unhide all. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll have these built into these parts here. And over here into this part here. And probably like drawing some sort of a chain lift kind of design. Now for other detail going along the top, we could have some vents, but I think I'll not. It depends, it's designed to go through a tunnel, so vents will probably be useful. Let's see. Maybe one there and one there. At this stage, remember, we do get a lot of idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work now, and we can kind of draw things on. Now for the lights on this, I was more along the idea of just having kind of box lights. Kind of like the LED lights that you see on modern car designs nowadays. And then up here, some sort of a sensor array. So and we don't want it to look like a face. This is important. It's not a face. So we can put some sensors and things in here, and maybe some sort of a gigantic light at the front. I don't know. There we go. Just so long as it looks more like it's got sensors on the front than anything else. And we can have some kind of cables and chuggy bits coming out the front as well. I'll grab some more references though from various engines and things as I go along. Okay, so a reiteration then. Here is the small, quickly made conceptual vehicle, okay, that I want to start out with. Now, if I just throw a quick mirror on this and copy it. Okay, you can see that we can throw it into iterations of multiple parts with some sort of a kind of spring thing down the middle here. Okay, it's certainly looks like it's going to hold, you know, 4 or 6 people in each box easily enough, and it can probably cram about 10 in if it's anything like the London Underground. Personally, it looks more comfortable than London Underground, and I've been on it a few times. Now, it will need some internal seating, probably. However, I'll work on that as separate items, because this has to be modular, okay? If we break it apart using just the copy I made, each of these parts here will become an asset. Okay, in the engine. So we can then assemble this with as many as or as few parts as we choose. So if I just hide our original piece here that I've made this duplicate of, you can see these are the pieces here. Forgot to duplicate that one. These are the pieces here that we're going to need to work on detailing and basically making look cool, yeah? It's not too much of a challenge. And it's got to look nice, both at render time and when we stick it in the game engine. Okay, let's unhide this now and get rid of this part. And now a chat about the important things in life, which is you know, good directory naming conventions. Now, if I go to File and then Save As, you'll see that I've got this kind of Max Scenes file. This is the default one that comes with 3ds Max 2012 in this case, okay? Don't use this. Now, I'm going to put mine in my development folder. That's here. Okay, and I'm going to make a new folder for it. So create new folder, and I'm going to call mine Tube Train for UDK, just so I know what it is. Now in here, I'm then going to give it a name. So this is 001. Always start with numbers, and then creating the train scaffold. Okay, that way I'll know exactly what the max file is. If you just call it things like, you know, figure, you're never going to find it again. So it's important that you have a good naming standard. Alright, so next part, we'll start optimizing the paths that we have, okay, by order of priority. And we'll also do some research into what the path should look like, because, you know, this is a door, yeah? And the first initial reaction you're going to get when you start modeling this is to go, cha-la-la, insert, delete, shell, finished, yeah? And no. Just no, alright? Not. So, like I'm saying, take your time, do it the right way. If you do it the right way first, you'll get a better result and it won't look terrible. Okay, we'll see you in the next bit.